What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 150 of Expert Mentors Live. I am super excited for today's episode as we have the one and only Mr. Steve Freeman on with us. And, you know, I just like to kind of think about with you, Steve, is that if there was a real estate hall of fame, you would be in the real estate hall of fame. And I know we're gonna dive in and talk, you know, about all of the obstacles, the turns, the pivots, the changes throughout your career. And I'm excited to have you on. Welcome. Say hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hello, John. You know, and it is true. I mean, it's been quite an adventure. You know, and I'll say that, you know, probably one of the luckiest things that ever happened to me was hooking up with you a few years ago. It's been, I mean, that's been a game changer for me too. So yeah, it's you know, you know, this is a fun and challenging business. So
it is that. And, you know, you've spent more than your life, more than half of your life in real estate. I would love for you to just kind of, let's dive in. I think your story is remarkable. You know, you've seen it all. So there's definitely a wealth of knowledge and information and do's and don'ts that you can share. Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of grew up, you know, that realtor brat. My mom started selling, I think she was like 1977. So, you know, we were the tag along babies. So I was born in 70. So that means I was 7 years old. You know, my dad was a builder, my granddad a builder. And, you know, so, I mean, I always say that I kind of learned this business through osmosis. I really and truly, my dad, I actually got his license as well during my mom owned her own brokerage, and, you know, he had his. And so, I mean, I took my test and never really opened the book. I mean, I listened well in the class.
Sure.
One of the great, in Georgia, we have probably one of the best instructors ever, Wade Gaddy. He's been teaching since 69, still teaches. And so that was a good thing. And, you know, I mean, so I've got to see it through them. And it's kind of interesting because we're going to kind of circle back to this now, you know, in the 70s and 80s, or mainly the 80s, when interest rates were super high, things stagnated. You know, my mom, she didn't know any better. She was young and dumb too. So she just thought 18% was what it was supposed to be, you know, and she just went out and sold like that's what it was supposed to be. You know, my granddad, they got creative on how to sell stuff. And I think that's, you know, kind of going to be circle back to where we get to with what I think is going to happen next from this push that we're through.
Yeah.
You know, so that, you know, that's been interesting. I started Remax with my mom in 94. Officially, I was her gopher for quite some time. I moved from Remax into their managing broker at 1998 when I was 28 years old, which was extremely hard with, you know, very senior agents, you know, twice my age,
right? And
being their managing broker. And then
was that the normal back then?
No, absolutely not.
No, not you being young, but being in the profession at that time. I think this is good, right? Because a lot of people don't understand the history of real estate and how it's, you know, evolved the 70s, 80s, 90s. But was it more older individuals in the profession?
Probably female driven, you know, at that time. And yes, absolutely, a very senior industry. You know, where this might have been a subsidy to incomes. It might have been, you know, a second career. But as the kids grew out of the house, you know, now they found something to do. Yeah, it was a very old. Matter of fact, I'll tell you that when I would never refer to my mom as mom in the office, I would call her Kathy. And because, I mean, we're in $1 million business, right?
Right.
And the first time I ever called her Kathy in that office, I mean, the looks that I got were like, I cannot believe you're calling your mom by her first name. You know, so disrespectful. But, you know, at home, she was mom. You know, I was able to switch it on and off, fortunately. But, so that kind of will give you some perspective of, you know, the seniority and the age that was taking place then.
Yeah.
When I look around the room today, I've been doing this almost 28 years. There's almost nobody left that was here when I started. There's a few, but not many. Maybe 10 or 12 in my area that I can really think of. And they're still not doing the volume that I'm running at every day.
What was the evolution? So your mom was independent, when you started kind of tagging along, and then, Remax, that was the bright, shiny object of the time. And is that what the evolution was and what gravitated her to that?
Yeah. So she started independent. Then she went to Century 21. Then she opened up her own because she was in a builder group. So, that's how it got started, outside of even my family. And, so that's how she did her own little thing. And then of course, it just made sense at that point, just kind of like where we're at today, to shut it down and go back to Remax and let the broker hold the liability.
The liability
without her having to, be the end all for her agents that were working for her.
What were some of the things early on that kind of helped shape kind of your career and who you are, foundationally, either lessons learned, like I'm not doing that, or like that's a principle that I will build my foundation on.
So it's all about my mom, right? I mean, she's did that. I never, still even today, I do not calculate my commission prior to getting my check. She never let me look at what the end number was before we got to closing. And that's key because, and we talk about this a lot of times. We work for people, and the money shows up when we do a good enough job. And when we focus on the money, a lot of times we defocus on what we really should be doing for the client. I will say that's probably the biggest rock, and not necessarily that money, but doing people the right way. I think that's why I'm able to stay in a small town, 28 years and continue to do business every single day here, because I've never done anybody wrong. I can be overly aggressive, I try not to be, but in this business, we sit on opposite sides of the field sometimes, and
sure.
And some people, you're able to shake hands, walk off the field, and go to have a drink at the bar. Other people harvest it, and harbor the feelings. That's fine. It happens. But at the end of the day, I try to do people right. The client, the agent, just let's get this deal done, but like I said, sometimes we do sit across the opposite sides of the table. But that's really been the biggest thing. I'll say that, and I'll give my mom kudos all day long. She's the nicest person on the planet. I tell everybody that she stole the niceness for the entire family. Why I don't have it. It's her fault. It really is true. If you knew her, you'd know. She almost seems fake because she is so nice. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just do people right. I paid back earnest money sometimes to my client when I didn't have to, just because they weren't happy. And then it came back tenfold other times.
Sure.
Lori, her, Lori's the lady that I've dated for 8 years, and really my better half, or life partner at this point. She'd be like, don't do that. And I'm like, no, just trust me. It'll come back tenfold. And it has, and she's seen it.
Yeah.
And it's actually changed the way she does her business. So those are the things. I would say that it's all about doing people the right way. Don't run over them. Don't use them, and I try to leave, like, people in my life that are in this business, other agents or whatever, I try to leave them better than they were when they met me. Even if we part ways, I can tell you that, I've had hundreds of agents work for me as a broker that don't work for me now, but you won't find very many people that'll say, oh, I would never go back to them. I have people come back all the time.
Sure.
So, we part the right ways. If so, everybody's got their right to make their own decision. So that's been key. And really watching the market. Like, I left the number one company in the world, Remax, and bought the 5th Keller Williams franchise in the state of Georgia. And it was Keller who, so, and the irony of it is, same thing happened here at EXP. I left, and this is the irony. I joined Remax at less than 6,000 people nationwide. I'm sorry, I don't want Keller Williams. Less than 6,000 nationwide. When I moved to EXP in October of 2017, the identical number, less than 6,000 people nationwide. And now look at it. And it's changed, and it's again changed my life. I mean, today is surreal.
So there's obviously something there, right? There's a clue or something. So for you, what was it that you saw? Like, you obviously, your mom had to see something. Hey, Century 21, Remax,
yep.
And then UCKW, and then you see EXP. What was it that stood out to you? Because a lot of agents don't see that, right? And they still haven't seen it to this day.
Right.
Like, so what was that? I think there's some good principles there that might help somebody, to see opportunity in a different way.
So, and I think it's always being able to pivot at the point. We've talked about this, I'm SteveFreeman.com. My email is steve@stevefreeman.com. So that always goes with me no matter where I'm at. Right. And I think everybody should do that.
I agree.
There's a certain amount of branding that you want to do with co-branding with your company. However, this is what I always tell people, and I can't remember where it was I heard it, but it was talking about a surfer, right? And a surfer is always looking behind him to catch the next wave, right? And he's looking and he's looking. He'll let several go past him. And then all of a sudden he sees that right one and he starts paddling like hell and he rides it. And he gets a perfect wave. But if that perfect wave ever gets in front of him, he can never, ever, ever catch it again. So, I'm real cognizant about that, is always kind of looking to see what's coming, not being stuck in the moment of looking, what's in front of me, looking what's coming at me. I think that people get real comfortable. This is my, I'm an analogy person anyways. I always say that the only people that like change is a dirty, wet baby. They scream and beg for it. Everybody else resists it. And I think that a lot of times people just don't really want to look and see what the opportunity really is because they're stuck in comfort, and they get into judgment and they don't get into curiosity. So that's, they start judging something based on what they've heard and don't really get into the curiosity and go and look at it and examine it. And I was guilty of that with EXP. I had probably for 2 years, maybe 10, 12 people call me. And I'm like, why would I do that? I own my own company. I'm not paying anybody. And then finally, funny enough, I didn't research it and Al moved it. It's weird the way things happen too, by the way. You got to watch the signs. I was on Facebook. I searched the name Freeman because I don't know who some of my people are. Cliff Freeman pops up number 1, EXP. The next day or 2 days later, Al Stasic, who, was my coach and the easiest recruit he's ever had, by the way. And it pops up and it says Al Stasic, shuts down his own company, goes to EXP. I call Al. I'm like, hey, dude, I got 2 questions for you. He answered them. I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm a former Keller Williams person, so you're going to like this. I'm the easiest recruit you're ever going to have. I don't know anybody else at EXP. I'm signing up under you. I think I might have been one of his first few outside his team.
I think so too.
Easiest recruit he's ever had in his life. So it's kind of funny. But that, it's just the way, it's just watching, and I had researched a lot, and then all of a sudden that validation came in, signs started showing up, and, it was there. But it's key to keep watching, opportunities. I mean, that's the thing.
Gotcha.
And they always show up in different ways.
Are you looking just from a true opportunity standpoint, or are you, just aware of the problems that you're trying to solve and you're looking for those opportunities to help you solve it?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest.
Uh-oh. Yeah. A little bit of both.
Yeah. Because, like right now, I mean, I'm fat, happy where I'm at. I don't foresee myself ever leaving. But who knows what the next opportunity might come up and be. I mean, I can't be closed-minded to it. But I don't see anything rivaling this at this point. It's like I said to you earlier, it's life-changing. It's surreal.
It really is.
Where I'm at today. I've been divorced a couple of times, and I never would have thought I'd have made it back to where I'm at this age, to be honest. My kids just turned, I've got one that's getting married soon. The other one's in college. So I'm an empty nester now. And I thought this was going to be the start of the rebuild years. And now, I'm kind of ahead of the curve. And it's like I said, it feels surreal.
Yeah. Man, you've seen a lot. You've got to ride through that. What are some of the yeah, just kind of share a couple of the bigger differences, because I think this will lend into kind of where I kind of want to go with kind of talking about the future. But
Yeah.
what have you seen, the biggest changes, but then also that are some potential threats within the industry?
So the thing that scares me the most now is that we seem to be to a race to the bottom. Everybody cutting their fees. And this is odd, because we go back to 2008 and 10, where you could not sell a house and it ran people out of the business. Now you have so many buyers and not enough homes to sell that it actually could run people out of the business again, because they can't make any money because they can't find a house to sell.
Yeah.
It's going to be the exact flip of what we went through the last time with some agent culling. And it happens, but still people every single day are getting their license. That's the other change. We're a very easy, inexpensive point of entry industry, to make to make so much money. The cheapest probably that's available. So that's usually my biggest concern, is just that, you've got so many people that are, undercutting, and here you are building your value. And people do see that, by the way, if you present it the right way. But you've got a lot of jackals at your heels, You
do. And, the consumer just thinks, that we're just a commodity, so it doesn't matter. Let me get, commodity at the lowest price.
Mm-hmm.
And, not finding that real skilled agent. And like you said, right? I mean, it's like, talking with, I had a great conversation with Jackie Bowman the other day. She went on a little rant about, buyers want an agent that they feel confident in, that can help them win in a multiple offer situation. And then they want a listing agent that can sell their home for the most amount of money and deal with the multiple offer situations. And so it takes skill on both of those dynamics. And I'm with you, right? If you don't have skill, you're not going to be able to, weather, the coming months.
No. And so, this is the irony, back in the 90s when it was new construction heavy, you could sell anything you put a sign in front of. I used to say, give me a monkey and a license, and I can teach them to get it under contract. I can do that today, but anyone can get a house under contract, but it takes somebody special to get it to all the way to closing. You've got a lot of buyer remorse going on. You've got a lot of other obstacles that are there. So there's your skill. Your skill is how to keep the people in the game, how to get it from contract to actually the closing table. And I think I was telling you the other day, please, agents, stop saying I got 40 offers in 48 hours. You're dumbing down our business. You make it look like that they don't need us and we're not doing anything. Put a sign in front of the yard, it sells. That's not true. Our marketing has changed a little bit because the time that we do it is shortened. So
Sure.
Instead of having to run 60, 90 days, we're marketing in 10, 12, 14 days. And it's a huge push that we're putting out even in front of it, but they don't see that, so please, make sure that people know exactly what we're doing there. We're still busting our ass out there, even though we're getting that number of offers. That's huge, really. We are a skill. We are.
Yeah. 100%. I love that. And we talked about that, right? Stop, saying things that dumb down, the industry and the profession, and really put out, value, because that's of no value to anybody with that, right? That content, that information. So what of value can you put out? So, what kind of thinking back through the changes, the moves, because this is going to kind of still build into kind of what you see in the future, but you've had to pivot a lot, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so let's kind of walk through those changes. And I always love to get to why we're making the changes.
Yeah. So and we've talked about this a lot. So, my career was new home heavy. All the way from 93 to the early mid 2000s. And I used to say in 8 and 10, I sold houses for exercise. I did it to help keep my builders in business, but it didn't really help me at the very end. Sort of, kind of. I mean, I'm like, I might have sold a $500,000 house for $1,000, just to keep that builder in business, because that was future business for me as long as I kept them in business. And it worked. And so there was the first pivot, getting away from that new construction, because I was limited to what I could really do, especially if they ever had me on site. I mean, I was an employee. I had to be there. I had to kind of jump how high when they said, jump.
Yep.
And then, so, like, it was one phone call one day. I walked away from about 80% of my business in one day, and I had to pivot like that. And again, Lori was there at lunch with me when it happened. And so we moved quickly from new construction to buyers. And at that time, all my top agent friends were like, I don't want to work with buyers. I just want to do listings, whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, look at all these buyers that are out here, and they're getting pushed off to these, unseasoned agents that don't know what they're doing. And dude,
Right.
I busted my ass, but I made a fortune for probably 3 or 4 years just running and gunning with the buyers. And it was quick and easy. We'd find a house, there was 20 of them to choose from. And, in a weekend we'd be done. So that was the first big pivot that I made, probably right after 8-10. And I've lived through 2000. I've lived through the 9/11. That was kind of weird. Everybody pulled in, didn't really know what to do for a few months, and then it opened back up. The 8-10 was weird because I did move to some bank business, but I knew that was limited, so I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket. And then now I just, like we were talking about a little bit ago, I moved about a year or so ago to just focus back totally on listings, just hammer away at it. And 90%, 96% of what I do is me. Peggy does some. I mean, Peggy was in my first license class, by the way, 28 years ago. We took the license together. Rhea, my assistant, she's the wind beneath my wings. I mean, she makes up for everything that I can't do. Without those two people, there's no way I'd be able to do it.
Sure.
And I've had other people come and go throughout the years that have helped me as well. And Lori, I'll give her me. And like, I just went through some surgery. I mean, she's taken great care of me, all that. So, but where I was going with that was, we closed in April, almost 14 properties April. And I really think 14 of them, if not 13, were all listings. Yep. So that shows you the major shift and the major pivot that we made to just only totally focus on me going after the listings, and then funneling back off the buyers to, Peggy, Rhea, whoever can go handle them.
Yeah. The leverage side that you have around you. Right.
Yeah. And the other difference is, John, is that like my footprint in Atlanta has had to tremendously expand. Like, normally I used to just work 2 counties. Now, I mean, if I can drive to it in an hour, I'm just about listing it, just because the listing inventory is so low.
And even into another state.
I just got licensed to another state. So, and it's an hour drive. So that's my limit. But, I have to do that if I want to keep that volume with the number of listings that are even available and the competition that I've got. There's other great agents in this area. I'm competing with good people, some of them in our group.
Sure.
So it's just something that we've had to shift and do.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And paying attention to it. I remember, we got to make this adjustment, right? We've got to get over on the listing side, full throttle, because that's where the opportunity. And I remember that. I mean, that's how I rode through 8, 9, and 10 too, was builders, and then, working those opportunities, that were there. So yeah, I mean, I get it. You have to go where the opportunity is, and stop banging your head up against where it's not. Right. So
from this point forward, it's going to be that this is just going to be how I do at this point. I'm going to surround myself with good, better people to go out and take care of the buyer clients that we got coming in. And for me, it's really hard because, I've been doing this for so long, people want me. And, I'm having to explain. This is, by the way, if you have this problem, this is the greatest statement I ever heard. This is a way that you get me without seeing me. And that's what I have to tell the client. I can't be everywhere. and I would be doing you a disservice if I tried it. And that's that. And I do stay in contact with them. I just make some periodic phone calls. I've got a list of people I call every single day, and I just make sure that they're somewhere on there in that.
Tell folks listening in, because there are a lot of agents that go through that growth that it's hard for them to let go of that thought, right?
I'm not the good one to talk about that because I still struggle with it today. That's as blunt and honest as I can be. I'm guilty.
What is that? So for you, because we're starting to work through that process, like what are you thinking about? I love that statement. This is how you get me without really getting me.
Yeah.
What are you kind of mentally to work through to be able to let go?
I think a lot of his age. I just turned 51 last week. I've been doing this. We talked about this. I've probably sold no less than $10 million in volume for 27 years.
Yeah.
And that's hard, and I still love it. So that's the driver. That's actually, this is my crack cocaine. So this is really an addiction problem for me, especially not having kids now. But at the same time, I love to travel. Every quarter I need to find somewhere to go. It's my downtime. It's my recharge. It might be 3 or 4 days. But it's also that I want to kind of pass along what I've done, right? Like I want to make other people successful. So I want to get some people in my world that I can get them to a higher plateau that where they want to be, not where I want them to be, where they want to be. And help them get there, and via the people that I might have missed.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's a fantastic perspective right there, is that, one way is if you truly want to have that impact and help grow others, then, you create that opportunity that you're able to provide for them. What are you, mentioned a couple key people that are around you, but what are you looking for when looking to find the right people?
So I want to drive this desk more than I drive my car. So in order to do that, so I'm not looking for people who are better than me now or equal to me now. I want to find people who want to learn and are open to other ways. I never close my mind. What I do works, but I never say that what I do is the only way. And I change all the time, every day, really. I just need that person who is not gonna. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's open to learn, who wants to be successful, who's willing to put in the effort. That this is not easy, This it's a tough business. If you want to be successful, you got to put some time in. Sure. I would say, my thing is I want to help somebody not let this business run them the way that I probably let it. That's the key.
Sharing, teaching, giving from, your lessons learned over time.
Yeah. Cause there's certain things you can't replace, like times with my daughters. I did do probably as much as I could and enough. Could I have done more? Sure. I don't have any regret there because I did take time to make sure that they were a major part of my life, and they're great kids today. My ex-wife, their mom, she's a good lady. She's done a good job with them. We did prohibit them from getting into real estate, but it's they're good. That's what, those are the kind of things you can't change, right?
Yeah, that's so cool. What just knowing you and kind of the whole topic of the call, staying relentless, man, you dealt with a tremendous amount of obstacles and still, just like you had mentioned, procedure last week, and how has that been challenging but able to keep pushing and thriving forward?
So and you were part of this. 2019, I had 4 surgeries. I was diagnosed in stage 3 kidney failure. That was a real kick in the gut. It deflated me probably all the way through. I found out in November, December, I was really, I was probably, I wasn't really worth anything. And then, it's just that fire inside of you ignites, and you're like, I'm not going to let anything stop me from doing what I want to do. And so that's the thing. Like you've got to have things that you want to achieve. And we talked about the goal settings. Like, when I was brand new and young, 23, 20, whatever, at Remax, I used to want to make $100,000 by May. And then if I did, I took off June and July and played golf. That was my goal. Right. And then I came back in August, September and killed it, but that was what I did. Today I've got certain different goals I set, and I'm going to make sure I make them. One of the ones we've talked about was, 25 years ago, I wanted to make that $1 million club for 25 straight years. Hey, I did it. That's a 25-year goal, and I did it consecutively. I didn't do it. I made it one year. Even in bad years, I made it, so it's just a matter of, and even like we just talked about the last surgery I had, I had a surgery, then I got pneumonia. I was down for about a week. Today's, I think, 13 days. Monday, I said, this is it. I'm ready to get going. I'm going to make it happen. I'm just going to do it. And so Monday, started running 90 miles an hour again, and I feel good. It's 90% of this stuff is mental, there's still a part that's, trust me, it's physical, but, you just push through it. And I will not let that win. That's the thing.
Is that for you coming from, just experience, or is that coming from, just certain things that you're able to tap into? Like what is it that, people that kind of struggle with that, what recommendations or what would you tell them, if they're struggling mentally to get through things?
Find your zone. So I wrestled in high school, and, and I was okay. I did all right. I don't have any cauliflower ear because my head didn't touch the mat. So I was okay. And it's funny, like Lori asked me the other day, what did I even do then? I'd put on a hood, I'd get over in the corner. I'd have some headphones on. I'd play that music, man. Like I got into that zone. Here's what, and this is funny. This is what I even do today in real estate. I saw the match before it happened. Like I knew what I was how I was gonna approach it, and if it changed where this guy did something else, and how I would adjust and come at that. That's what I do every single day today. When I meet with a client, I already in my mind know where they're going to possibly go with the conversation, and if they do, I know already how I'm going to counter it. I'm leading it, but if they try to take me down a different path, I've already thought through where I'm going to go with it. So I think you just find your zone, and when you find your zone, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing. Zero. And trust me, I could be downstairs laying in the bed, and feeling sorry for myself. What good's that going to do? That's not going to get anywhere. Being productive and being, and having accomplishments and making those things, man, there's nothing, but there's no better high. So that's for me, that's it,
Yeah.
And that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. I get up every single morning. I said I was divorced. I used to tell people that the biggest motivator was, if I didn't pay my child support or whatever, I was going to jail. I wasn't going to lose my house. I wasn't going to lose my car. I was going to jail. So that's a big ass motivator. Yeah. It's funny. Like today, I still don't change that motivation level. It's still, get up, do your job, go make somebody, enrich somebody's life, make it happen, And that's funny. Like 90% of the clients I have will say, man, like this guy said he's going to do this. And that's exactly what he did. So
that's awesome. It really is. I love the visualization and being able to visualize how it's all going to play out. And even, thinking through, hey, if this happens, then we can go here. Just thinking through the different scenarios that could play out
before you get there. You can't be, you got to be reactive, but you got to kind of have a game plan for like the worst case scenario already.
Yeah.
And when I'm driving, I'm playing it through in my mind. Like I know what's coming, and I'm envisioning, so, and like I said, and that goes back to goals, right? I know what that goal is. So I know I've got to get X number of calls, X number of sales, X number of whatever to meet that goal. And if I don't, it's on me. And I don't want to be a failure. I want to have I want my arm raised, saying, hey, the guy did what he said he was going to do.
So is for you in on the goal setting, something that just picked up right there is breaking the goal apart into bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, you got to. Don't set it so high that you can't reach it, because if you can't, then you fail, and then it does nothing for you. But set it just enough and over where it's attainable. That's key, because if you set yourself up for failure, you've already failed out of the gate. Don't be realistic about what you're doing.
I'm with you on that one. You hear, why not, just 10x your goal. Well, okay, we'll break it apart, but you've still got to have the daily wins to build the confidence, right? Because that's what builds our confidence is wins. And the more you win, the more confidence you have. Correct. And if you set something so far you can't reach, you're not getting enough wins, then your confidence is gone. And then you feel the defeat.
Right. Yeah. You're deflated, totally deflated. Yeah. Look, if I don't win, I'm deflated. I'm the worst loser in the world. I hate it. I don't like the word no, and I don't like the letter L. Right. I do not want that by my name. I want a W, and I want, so yes, you've got to break it into really obtainable pieces. And if I don't make it, I don't blame anybody but me.
Right.
I take full accountability for everything.
I think that's powerful right there.
Yeah. Don't play the blame game. I could create 1,000 different excuses of why something didn't happen. Man, like I'm the first one to step up and say, if I didn't do something, I didn't do it. And it wasn't because of whatever, because if it was because of whatever, I should have made the correction.
Right. 100%. It's the 100-0 principle. It's full accountability and, no excuses. Right. Yeah. And we all drop the ball. We all don't show up like we want to sometimes, but it's not making an excuse. It's what are we going to do about it moving forward?
Yeah. And I do it. Trust me. And I feel guilty as hell when it happens. Yeah. I'll carry that baggage for probably 3 to 4 months if I know that I didn't do what I should have done. But sometimes it happens, man. It just does. And you take that, and that's a learning point, and you move forward from there, and you say, I'm not going to do it again. Is it going to happen again? Probably. Sure. But you do everything that you can do to make sure that it doesn't.
I'm 100% with you on that. That's that is absolute gold. And that helps push through everything, right? Even the challenges, the obstacles, the pivots, everything that we've been chatting about today. Yeah. Really understanding that. I think to me, accountability to whatever the action is. And we're all gonna bang our head and go down take a wrong turn, but hey, own it. What are we doing about it moving forward and keep moving?
And probably the main thing that I've got to get better at, and it's really like a parent type deal anyways, is getting the people in my world more accountable to their own things, me holding them accountable. Yeah. Setting those expectations, not from me, but let them set them and then hold them to them. And that's when I say I want to drive this desk more than cars, because that will allow me to focus more on people and not as much on, me.
What do you see kind of moving forward within the market?
So I think that we're getting close to being at the pinnacle point of, the prices escalating quite how they have. I think that the buyer pool will probably start slowing down some. I'm actually seeing it already a little bit, instead of the 8, 10, 12 offers, maybe 2, 3 sellers starting to kind of have to make some concessions here and there. Appraisals are a problem, so they're keeping the prices down. We're luckily in this Atlanta market that cash is very prominent here. So and here's the thing, like I hear this all the time, when's the crash going to happen? We're just waiting for it to happen. Look, dude, there's no crashes coming. This is the new floor that's being set every single day. It just moves up and up and up. I think we're getting close to that pinnacle up. So I think that, with inflation is going to cause interest rates to go up. And that's where I was saying we're going to kind of circle back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, or 70s, 80s. I think that you're going to see things plateau out like they did just for a short term. Not till probably midterm 2020 or 2022. Right after that's probably where, if I'm being, I'm a dumbass from Tyrone, Georgia. But I do know this business somewhat. So I believe that that's going to take place. It'll lower the buy. We really need it to happen almost. We need the buyer pool to lower down a little bit, let the listings recover, and it'll stop the frenzy, and it'll create more of a back to a natural market. I don't. There's not going to be a correction when appraisals come in low, and they're paying the difference. They're doing it with cash. When they buy the houses above list price, it's cash. They're not really these adjustable rate mortgages. There's not these fake, 100%. We raise the price to get their down payment back. This is real money that's being spent in this market. So there's not anything to make it falsely go back and correct itself again. I don't see a correction. I just see that we've naturally, especially like in Atlanta. Atlanta's a major metropolitan city.
Major
prices have always remained lower than like New York, Boston, the West Coast has always been kind of a question to me anyways. So all I see is that we've just gotten where we should have been. Some of the jumps that we've seen though, 11, 12% in a year, that can't keep going on. And I think that's why we're getting close to being at that plateau level where it'll just kind of, real estate's not going backwards and it's not going to stop. It's just going to flatline a little bit is what I think. It's just my personal opinion.
Well, I mean, I would value it. You've seen, a bunch of different markets over the years. So I tend to agree.
I think that's a short term though this time, by the way. I don't think it's a long term. And then I think it starts jumping back up because I think what will happen is that the investors will see it and the interest rates will kind of drop back down, they'll recover. Because I think now that the investors are able to see what moves and shifts the market, and so they're willing, and they're not going to lose thousands of millions of dollars,
Right.
And that's when I say there's no place for correction because people are putting real cash money. There's real skin in this game this time.
Yeah. For sure. What, man, a lot of success over the years. I mean, 25 straight years. I mean, that's, hitting that mark. But what's most important for you right now moving forward?
People, increasing my touch on the world. I had a big team once before. I had a partner, Susan Annis, and we had a, closing coordinator, in that day, we called him a telemarketer, ISA, whatever. And we had a good group of people that worked with us. She was a good lady too. But it's that I probably want to get back to that, because I tell you, I mean, as far as brokering, I don't think there's a better broker in Georgia. You have a problem, I can fix it. You need a solution, I can give it to you. You need whatever. As a broker, I'm great at. This is what I've got to do for me in the future. I've got to get better at the touch. I got to get better at stroking people and patting them on the back when they do a good job. I've always been, as a broker, do your job, come in because I brokered at Remax, 100%. You're on your own. We don't feed you. I was a broker owner of Keller, same thing, do your job. And now, it's a mindset shift, I'm going to help people. I'm going to help provide them with, some stuff. I'm going to coach them, consult them. I do that already for certain people.
Sure.
I mentor people, inside EXP. I coach people now. And it's just going to be to expand that world. And I still love my job. I'll still do it. I'll still work with some buyers here or there. I'm still going to work with sellers because I think I have to do that to stay relevant. One of my good friends, Mike Price, he's with us. A few years ago, he was like, I won't even work a buyer. I said, Mike, I think you need to at least take on one a quarter so that when you're sitting in front of your seller, you're relevant. What's at least going on in the marketplace. I think you've got to know what buyers are thinking. You got to know. So for me, I'll probably still do that no matter what until I'm probably 80.
I won't doubt it. We'll get that. We'll get that.
I don't see myself really slowing down like totally till probably 65. We gotta
get that. We gotta get that 50-year mark, not the 25.
Yeah. Well, I probably could get there. What is it? Is that? No, that's 4. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be close.
It'd be close.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to really do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, do you want to do that?
No. Maybe if I was in California and only had to sell 2 houses, that'd be something different.
Very true.
Hey, look, my first part of that to make $1 million, you had to sell the average sales price was $80,000. And you only got to count 40 of that. if you co-opt it. So, I mean, do the math. I mean, we were hanging and banging. You know, there was 100 something houses a year back then.
A lot of houses.
Yeah, but everything changes. And that's a key point. Everything does change. Don't sit stagnant. Be ready and there's that shift. There's that relentless. Like, do not stop. Keep learning. You guys are better readers than I am. I've got, that was a commitment I made this year. I've been reading books. I started that in January. I've stayed pretty true to that. I'm a little low on where I wanted to be numbers wise, but I'm at least doing it. So I can at least say, hey, good job. And that's key, man. Like I'll tell you, the smartest people in the world, you and Kitchen, you are Kitchens, you, Reese, Jay, Al, y'all read, man. You read and you absorb it and you regurgitate it. Nick Krim's another great example of that, man. Like that guy's read, he's learned, and he regurgitates everything he's done.
So proud of him. Yeah.
And those are some, like, if you're in this group and you're not familiar with these people, man, like follow them and you're going to see, like, I mean, they've taken their careers just straight up. And I'm telling you, 90% of it is, probably reading, probably 90% of it, really.
Always. Always.
And I've made a commitment to that this year. That's and great. I've been doing it. I'm happy for myself to do that because I'm not a good reader. I'm a good listener.
It's good. I love it, man. Well, Steve, I appreciate you jumping in. I know not feeling great this week. We're going to continue to feel better, but I definitely appreciate you jumping in, adding
bad things. Good things come out of bad things, right? So like I lost 20 the easy way. so now I'm like, hey man, like just keep it where it is, go for it all. So now you just take something. Hey, there you go. When life hands you lemons, make a lemon martini. So now like I'm like, hey man, like that was the first easy 20 pounds. So let's go from there. But no, man, like, and it is. Thanks for man, like you. I'll be honest with you, John. I'm just gonna say this. I know this is not recorded or not in our thing. But thank you for everything, your friendship, checking on me. It means the world. It really does. And guys, like, this is the greatest. He's a great human being, really.
I appreciate that.
You are. I truly, like, man, like when you feel like shit and somebody like you calls and checks on you, it means the world. It does. So thank you very much. Really.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. And make sure you guys follow Steve at Steve Freeman everywhere, and give Steve some love and reach out if you guys have questions. Like I said, I don't think there's anybody in the industry that has more knowledge and experience than Steve. And
happy to help anybody anywhere. Like if you ever have a question, whatever, if you have anything, I mean, like you can always reach out to me. I'm fully accessible. I'm happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, brother. We'll see you.